Rachel, hello, good morning. Um, hmm, 4 o'clock exactly here, and what better way to start the day than with a continuation of bollocks, this. Um, and having just woken up, it won't be the most fluent or lucid of readings. Um, uh, yeah, I'll just say, no. I've done quite a lot of videos in the last couple of days, and I'm really glad to be doing them. I love doing them. Um, and I love doing things especially for you, because I know how much you know and appreciate about these things. Anyway, just before I get wrapped up in the text again, I want to show you a couple of the plates that, well, illustrations really, that accompany this section. I don't know if that's any good to you. Oh, jeez, I can't. There we are, looking into the rabbit hole. And I don't know what she's doing there. We'll find out, I guess. Um, Thinking to herself while dancing in a hula hoop. I haven't considered whether hula hoops generally promote beneficial thought. She's probably not hula hooping. Um, I'm not even going to try to say things spontaneously now. This is slow as hell. So, and also, well, nothing. Just being vain on camera. um, okay, and after that less than stellar introduction, let's carry on. We left it after the last time when she just had her down, down, down experience. And she'd landed on a heap of dry leaves. Continuing on page 10 of this edition, Alice was not a bit hurt, and she jumped on to her feet in a moment. She looked up, but it was all dark overhead. Before her was another long passage, and the white rabbit was in sight, hurrying down it. There was not a moment to be lost. Away went Alice like the wind, and was just in time to hear, as it turned a corner, "Oh, my ears and whiskers! How late it's getting!" She was close behind it when she turned the corner, but the rabbit was no longer to be seen. She found herself in a long, low hall, which was lit up by a row of lamps hanging from the roof. There were doors all round the hall, but they were all locked. And when Alice had been all the way down one side and up the other, trying every door, she walked sadly down the middle, wondering how she was ever to get out again. Suddenly she came upon a three-legged table, all made of solid glass. There was nothing on it except a tiny golden key, and Alice's first thought was that it might belong to one of the doors of the hall. But, alas, either the locks were too large or the key was too small, but at any rate it would not open any of them. However, the second time round, she came upon a low curtain she had not noticed before, and behind it was a little door about 15 inches high. She tried the little golden key in the lock, and to her great delight it fitted. Alice opened the door and found that it led into a small passage, not much larger than a rat-hole. She knelt down and looked along the passage into the loveliest garden that you ever saw. How she longed to get out of that dark hall and wander about among those beds of bright flowers and those cool fountains. But she could not get even her head through the doorway. And even if my poor head would go through, thought poor Alice, it would be of very little use without my shoulders. Oh, how I wish I could shut up like a telescope! I think I could, if I only knew how to begin. For, you see, so many out-of-the-way things had happened to Alice lately, that she began to think that very few things indeed were really impossible. There seemed to be no use in waiting by the little door, so she went back to the table, half hoping she might find another key in it, or at any rate a book of rules for shutting people up like telescopes. This time she found a blue bottle on it. "Which was certainly not here before," said Alice, and round its neck a paper label were the words "Drink me," beautifully printed in large letters. It was all very well to say "Drink me," but the wise little Alice was not going to do that in a hurry. "No, I'll look first," she said, "and see whether it's marked poison or not." For she had read several nice little histories about children who had got burnt and eaten by wild beasts, and many other unpleasant things, all because they would not remember the simple rules their friends had taught them, such as that a red-hot poker will burn you if you hold it too long, that if you cut your finger very deeply with a knife, it usually bleeds. And she had never forgotten that, if you drink much from a bottle marked poison, it is almost certain to disagree with you sooner or later. However, this bottle was not marked poison, so Alice ventured to taste it, and finding it very nice, it had, in fact, a sort of mixed flavour of cherry tart, custard, pineapple, roast turkey, toffee, and hot buttered toast, she very soon finished it off. "What a curious feeling," said Alice. "I must be shutting up like a telescope." And so it was indeed. She was now only 10 inches high, and her face brightened up at the thought that she was now the right size for going through the little door into that lovely garden. First, however, she waited for a few minutes to see if she was going to shrink any further. She felt a little nervous about this. "For it might end, you know," said Alice, "in my going out altogether, like a candle. I wonder what I should be like then." And she tried to fancy what the flame of a candle is like after it is blown out, for she could not remember ever having seen such a thing. After a while, finding that nothing more happened, she decided on going into the garden at once. But, alas for poor Alice! When she got to the door she found that she had forgotten the little golden key, and when she went back to the table for it, she found that she could not possibly reach it. She could see it quite plainly, plainly through the glass, and she tried her best to climb up one of the table legs. But it was too slippery, and when she had tired herself out with trying, the poor little thing sat down and cried. "Come, there's no use in crying like that," said Alice to herself, rather sharply. "I advise you to leave off this minute." She generally gave herself very good advice, though she seldom followed it, and sometimes she scolded herself so severely as to bring tears into her eyes. And once she remembered trying to box her own ears for having cheated herself in a game of croquet she was playing against herself. For this curious child was very fond of pretending to be two people. "But it's no use now," thought poor Alice, "to pretend to be two people. Why, there's hardly enough of me left to make one respectable person." Soon her eye fell on a little glass box that was lying under the table. She opened it and found in it a very small cake, on which the words "Eat me" were beautifully marked in currants. "Well, I'll eat it," said Alice, "and if it makes me larger, I can reach the key, and if it makes me smaller, I can creep under the door. So either way I'll get into the garden, and I don't care what happens." She ate a little bit, and said anxiously to herself, "Which way? Which way?" holding her hand on the top of her head to feel which way it was growing. And she was quite surprised to find that she remained the same size. To be sure, this generally happens when one eats cake, but Alice had got so much into the way of expecting nothing but out-of-the-way things to happen, that it seemed quite dull and stupid for life to go on in the common way. So she set to work, and very soon finished off the cake. And as you will know, that's the end of chapter 1, and I'm going to leave it there this morning. Oh yes, I did have a couple of things to say to you. Well, I always have a couple of things to say to you. Yeah, I'm sorry if the last couple of days delivery of these has been delayed. For some reason my upload speed has probably it's got fed up with me doing all of these, and it's just crawling along at snail's pace now. So even though I'm doing this at 4 in the morning, you probably won't get it until about 9 o'clock this evening at current rates of upload speed. What else? Oh yeah, I'm not on HP as much these days at the moment, which is no real reason for that. I do want to go back there and have fun, but I'm enjoying doing these a lot, and so I am not neglecting, well, my ex-pet. I'm sure Evie. Well, I don't know. Are you getting on with Evie? I must go and peek. I must go and have a look. It will be nice to see you. So what have we talked about? We've talked about the book. We've talked about HB. And well, if there was something else, but I can't remember what it was. I'm going to shut this down. And oh yeah, the final thing. I'm trying to find the best angle for this because I am a vain bastard. And this seems to be okay. Yesterday my chin looked like it was out here, which it is. But I think it's looking, well, by my standards, rather normal today, so I'm going to sit like this forever now and not move. Thanks, Rachel. All the best. Bye bye.